Rich people aren't smarter than you. They just know something you don't. They let their money work for them while you trade time for cash. Want to break the cycle? It all comes down to compounding. If you're not using it, you're falling behind. And if you keep ignoring it, you'll stay broke. Let me show you exactly how to flip the script. 1. Understanding compounding. Imagine you have a little snowball. If you roll it down a hill, it picks up more snow and gets bigger, right? That's kind of how compounding works with your money. It starts small, but over time it grows faster and faster. Now here's the key difference between simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest is like getting paid the same amount every year, boring and predictable. But compound interest, that's where the magic happens. Instead of just earning money on what you started with, you also earn money on the money you've already made. Let's put it into numbers. Say you put $1,000 into an account that gives you 5% interest every year. The first year you make $50. Nice, but nothing crazy. But in the second year, instead of earning another $50, you now earn 5% on $1,050. That's $52.50. Not a huge jump, but watch what happens over time. Every year your money keeps building on itself, like a snowball rolling down that hill, getting bigger and bigger. At first it's slow, but give it enough years and the numbers start skyrocketing. That's why people say, the earlier you start, the better. Even small amounts can turn into something huge if you let compounding do its thing for long enough. So yeah, if you want your money to work for you, compounding is the secret sauce. Just let it grow and be patient. Future you will thank you. 2. The rule of 72. If you've ever wondered how long it'll take for your money to double, there's a simple trick called the rule of 72 that gives you a quick estimate. No complicated math needed. The idea is simple. Take the number 72 and divide it by your annual interest rate. The result gives you a rough idea of how many years it'll take for your investment to double. For example, if you're earning a 6% return, you'd calculate 72 divided by 6 equals 12 years. That means if you just leave your money alone, it should double in about 12 years. If your return was 8%, the math would be 72 divided by 8 equals 9 years, meaning your money would double even faster. Think of it like growing a tree. A slow-growing tree might take decades to get big, while a fast-growing one reaches full size much sooner. The same goes for your investments. The higher the return, the faster your money grows. Of course, this isn't a perfect formula, just a handy shortcut to get a general idea. But next time you're thinking about long-term investing, you can use the rule of 72 to see how quickly your money could multiply. 3. The impact of starting early. Let's talk about why starting early with investing is such a big deal. It's not about having a ton of money up front. It's about giving your money time to grow. Even small, consistent investments can turn into something huge if you start early enough. Investing works the same way because of compounding, where your returns start earning their own returns. Take Sarah, for example. She started investing $500 a month at age 25, putting her money into an index fund averaging a 10% annual return, which is close to the long-term average of the stock market. By the time she turned 50, her investments had grown to about $950,000. That's not just her deposits, it's the power of compounding doing its thing. Now imagine Sarah waited 10 more years before starting. Even if she invested the same amount every month, she'd end up with way less, around $350,000 by age 50. Why? Because she missed out on those early years where compounding really picks up steam. 4. Consistency and patience. When it comes to building real money over time, 2 things matter most: consistency and patience. You don't need to hit the jackpot overnight. Just keep putting in small amounts regularly and give it time to grow. That's how compounding works. Let's break it down with an example. Say you invest $500 every month and you're getting around 10% annual returns, which is close to the stock market's historical average. In about 15 years, that could grow to $200,000. But here's where it gets interesting. This growth doesn't happen evenly. Think of it like filling a jar with dripping water. At first it feels slow, but once the water level rises, each new drop adds up faster. This pattern follows something called the 8-4-3 rule. The first $66,000 takes 8 years to build. The next $66,000 happens much quicker, just 4 years. The last stretch to $200,000, that takes only 3 years. Why? Because now your past returns are working just as hard as your new investments. So if you ever feel like your investments aren't growing much in the beginning, just wait. Compounding does most of the heavy lifting later on. 5. Real-life success stories. Perry Wilson was in a tough spot, not just a little short on cash, but 10,000 pounds in debt. Instead of letting it drag him down, he decided to turn things around with a simple game plan. Earn more, save smart, and invest wisely. He picked up multiple jobs to boost his income and started putting whatever he could into rental properties. It wasn't an overnight success. Real estate takes time. But he stayed consistent. 5 years later, he owned 4 houses. What made the difference? Compounding and smart investing. The rent from his first property helped him save for the second, then the third, and so on. Like stacking bricks, each step built on the last, and his debt became a distant memory. Perry's story proves you don't need a lucky break. You just need a strategy and patience. 6. Avoiding common pitfalls. Compounding can do wonders for your money, but there's a catch. It works both ways. Just like your investments can grow over time, so can your debt if you're not careful. Think of it like filling a bucket with water. Investing is like adding steady drops that eventually fill the bucket. But high-interest debt? That's like a hole at the bottom, draining the water just as fast, sometimes even faster. If you're racking up credit card debt with 20% interest, no amount of smart investing at 8 to 10% returns will make up for it. That's why staying on top of your finances is just as important as investing. Keep your spending in check, pay off high-interest debt first, and make sure your money's working for you, not against you. That way, compounding can do its job, helping your wealth grow instead of slipping through the cracks. 7. The silent killer. Inflation. Most people don't realize it, but inflation is constantly eating away at your money's value. If you just let cash sit in a savings account earning next to nothing, you're actually losing money over time. Think about it. What could $1 buy you 20 years ago compared to today? Prices go up and your money buys less. Now here's where compounding saves the day. If your investments grow at 8 to 10% a year, but inflation is only 3%, you're still coming out ahead. But if you're not investing at all, your money is just slowly shrinking in value. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. Unless you're actively adding more, you're losing water without even realizing it. 8. Passive income versus active income. Most people trade their time for money. You work, you get paid. But the rich, they set up systems where money comes in without them having to do anything. That's the difference between active income, where you work for money, and passive income, where money works for you. Compounding is the foundation of passive income. Whether it's through investments, rental properties, or dividend stocks, the goal is to build a system where your money keeps growing even while you sleep. Imagine having enough invested that your returns alone cover your expenses. Suddenly, you're no longer working just to pay bills. That's financial freedom. 9. Why timing the market doesn't work. A lot of people think they need to wait for the perfect time to invest. They sit on the sidelines hoping for a market crash so they can jump in at the bottom. But here's the thing, nobody can predict the market consistently. Even professionals get it wrong. Instead of waiting for the right moment, focus on time in the market instead of timing the market. If you invest consistently, whether the market is up or down, you take advantage of compounding without stressing over short-term moves. Think of it like planting seeds. If you wait for the perfect weather, you might never plant anything. But if you plant a little bit every season, you'll always have something growing. 10. The cost of waiting. Let's say 2 friends, Alex and Jordan, both want to invest. Alex starts at age 25, putting away $500 a month. Jordan waits until 35 to start, but doubles the amount to $1,000 a month, thinking he can catch up. Fast forward to age 60, Alex, who started earlier but invested less, ends up with more money. Why? Because compounding needs time more than anything else. Even though Jordan put in twice as much, He lost out on those crucial early years where the snowball effect starts working. This is why waiting is the most expensive mistake you can make. Every year you delay, you're missing out on growth that could have made a huge difference down the road. The takeaway? Start now, even if it's a small amount, because later you'll wish you had. Let's talk about how small, consistent investments can turn into serious money over time. Imagine you start with $5,000 and invest it in something that gives you a 10% return per year. On top of that, you keep adding $500 every month. A manageable amount, nothing extreme. At first, the growth seems slow. After a year, you've got around $5,500. Not exactly life-changing, but as time goes on, things speed up. By year 5, your investment has grown to $41,000. Give it 10 years, and you're looking at $105,000. Stick with it for 20 years, and now you've got $380,000. And if you keep going for 30 years, the longer you stay in the game, the more powerful it becomes. The trick? Start early and stay consistent. If you've ever thought about growing your money but weren't sure where to start, compounding is the way to go. It's slow at first, but over time, it can really add up. The sooner you start, the better. If you found this helpful, stick around for more simple, no-nonsense money tips. And hey, if you know someone who could use this advice, pass it along, because good financial habits are worth sharing.